Aloha, my name is Darryl Oliveira, and I'm the administrator for Maui Emergency Management Agency. What I'd like to share is the next step of moving forward for the Lahaina community, and that's the reentry process. So, what is reentry? And reentry is our working with the residents and property owners and getting them into their properties so they can have closure. One is getting onto the site, seeing their properties, maybe collecting information, photographs for insurance purposes. But most important is getting that closure. For many of them that left in the midst of the fire, this is going to be the first opportunity to go back and really see what's left, right? We really want to prepare them. And when I say assist, why we're doing this is again really to provide them with that closure that's much needed and been long awaited. How we're going to do that, it starts off with the issuing passes. So starting tomorrow, we're going to have a process at the Lahaina Civic Center, and we'll expand to provide more opportunities, different sites, because we know many of the Lahaina residents that were displaced have relocated to other areas of the island, especially central Maui. So we want to provide ease of access to acquire the passes. There'll be 2 passes issued per property owner and per renter or tenant or occupant. We know that for many of the properties, they were rental properties. So you have both an owner as well as an occupant for the property. They'll each be provided with 2 passes. That's one per vehicle or car that they can bring themselves, their families, their friends with them to come and see and get that closure. We know for some of them, it's also bringing their insurance adjuster or insurance officer in to help facilitate maybe the filing of a claim or bring that to close as well. So we really want to work with the residents and property owners. A big part of that is making sure it's safe for them. I think when they get out on the property, they'll see that there's still a lot of debris, there's ash, there's still roadside hazards with the burned vehicles, maybe some utility infrastructure. So we really want to help guide them out there, provide them the support, but also provide them the privacy, that space and quiet, so they can get the closure they're looking for and hoping to get. There will be some personal protective equipment made available for the residents. We're not requiring it or issuing it to them. It's made available by some of the nonprofits. And it's really just garments and covers that would allow them to access the area where you could have airborne particulate. We don't want it to get on anyone's skin. There'll also be particle masks or respirators so you don't breathe in any of that. And again, it's mainly to have a very passive, I want to say, gentle approach and walk onto the site without disturbing any of the ash and creating any dust to ensure the safety of everybody. Again, the passes will be made available starting tomorrow. We're going to have it at the Lahaina Civic Center where you come in, you register for the passes, you'll be given your passes, and then beginning Monday, we're going to start to open up zones in the area, starting with one zone at a time, but eventually maybe doing multiple zones at a time. Part of that is we want to evaluate how effective we are in meeting the needs of the residents and families that want to access their properties. We can obviously grow it based on what we may feel is additional resources to take on more, but we want to make sure the experience is what we'd hope for, and that is to give people that private space and opportunities to see their parcels. So beginning Monday, we're going to identify a zone which has already been passed out in various communications, starting with zone 1C, which is on the very north end of the fire impact area. And we will gradually move through and maybe do multiple zones at a time based on what resources we have and the interest we see based on this first opportunity starting next week, Monday. Again, once we complete what we say is 2 escorted or guided visits to the property, at that point, we're going to still restrict access to only the residents and property owners, but they can still continue to come into the site and do what they need to do to get closure. We highly discourage bringing people with any health ailments in, especially our seniors, our kupuna, as well as young children, just because there are hazards there. So we will also provide safety guidance and instructions on how you can access your property safely, and if you're going to access it later without any support from us and our stakeholders and partners, how you can do that safely. We'd also discourage any type of digging or moving of things on the properties because there's still hazards out there. As you can imagine, there's a lot of still metal remnants, maybe concrete remnants, things that people get hurt by, as well as we don't want to kick up any of the ash and particulate and create a health hazard, not just for them right there, but others who may be downwind. So our goal is to work with everyone as we register people and provide them the passes and give them some explanation as what they can expect, to include even the environment. It's very hot out there. So we encourage people to come hydrated. We will provide tents and shade throughout the areas, as well as access to porta-johns and hand washing stations. Again, our goal is to just support what needs to be done with people getting closure and helping them to grieve and get through this process before we move into the next process, which is actually the debris removal. So we'll work with the community, just asking for everyone's patience, understanding, and really the cooperation. A question was posed to me, are we going to enforce anything? I think rather than get into an enforcement discussion, we just want cooperation. And I know we can get that. The community really wants to see this happen, wants to support those who have suffered and are continuing to deal with the loss, and really respect their needs and help them to get closure. So we're looking forward to things, again, starting soon, with the passes being issued starting tomorrow at the Lahaina Civic Center from 8 to 4, and then moving through next week with starting the reentry. What the community can do is pay attention to the Maui Recovers website and see the information as we open zones and announce which zones are next. We are doing it by zones. So when you come down to register for your passes, it's by zone only, which we'll announce in advance to just minimize frustration or minimize long lines waiting needlessly. So again, MauiRecovers.org website. There'll be a lot of information there, and we'll continue to provide press releases and announcements as we continue to move through this process. Again, just want to say thank you to the community for patience and understanding, and look forward to supporting all of those out there. Thank you.